Good morning, all of you. So, in the previous class, we discussed about uniform and non-uniform circular motion, and then we discussed about, say, centripetal force and centrifugal force, right? And so now let us see some problems based on that. And before going to that, I will introduce about work done or the power delivered in the circular motion. How much power is delivered to a particle in circular motion? As the power is not completed actually, work per energy. I hope all of you know about this definition of the power and work. The rate of doing work is nothing but we simply define it as a power, right? So all of you know that. So just I will introduce that concept here, and then I will give some problems based on that. Sometimes I will ask about the power related questions also in circular motion. So let us write this. Power in circular motion. So first let us discuss in uniform circular motion. So in uniform circular motion, let us discuss here. So now in uniform circular motion means we discussed already in the last class here, omega will remains constant, and so when omega is constant, only one acceleration is there, centripetal acceleration, and so only that centripetal force will be there. There is no tangential force here, and so that this centripetal force will be directed like this, and velocity of the particle will be there along this direction here, right? And so now this power, let us write here. Just you may mention about the definition of the power. So power is defined as a rate of doing work. Power is defined as a rate of doing work. Therefore, this power P is equal to dW by dt, you can write, right? dW by dt. And so then you can write this expression as and actually these basic definitions we already introduced in the topic vectors, dot product and cross product there. So in the applications, when you are discussing applications of this dot product, you will get this power. And so now here this work done, we can write this as F bar dot S bar. So we can write this expression as so F bar dot ds bar. Now we can write here this work done. And so then this value, now we can write this expression as F bar dot ds bar by dt. And so now this ds bar by dt, you can write this as F bar dot v bar, right? So this is our power formula here, F bar dot v bar, and so or you can also express this as Fv cos theta, where theta is angle between force and velocity vectors here. So this is in vector form, dot product form, and this is the magnitude of this. That means Fv cos theta form there. So you know power is a scalar quantity, and you know dot product of vectors gives a scalar. All those things we discussed in product of vectors only, dot product of vectors. And so now let us apply in case of this uniform circular motion. In uniform circular motion, the only force acting on the particle is the centripetal force, right? And so that centripetal force will be directed towards the center. And so now just mention about that. In uniform circular motion, F is equal to Fc, and so therefore we can write this as power delivered is equal to Fc into V into cos 90. The angle between them is 90 degrees. The angle between this net force and this particle, velocity of the particle. Therefore, this value is 0. Therefore, what we can conclude is power delivered to the particle in uniform circular motion is 0, or power delivered by the centripetal force is 0, you can conclude that. So just to mention that power delivered to the particle in uniform circular motion is 0. Power delivered to the particle in uniform circular motion is 0, or the power delivered by the That means the another statement we are writing in another way. The power delivered by the centripetal force is always zero. You can conclude that because centripetal force is always perpendicular to that velocity there, right? So the always, whenever centripetal force is there, then power delivered by the centripetal force you can conclude it as zero. And so next let us consider in non-uniform circular motion. So then in non-uniform circular motion, let us consider here so in non-uniform circular motion, what we can say is there is one component will be there, one component of force will be there along this tangential direction, and other component is there along this radial direction there. So this is our tangential force here. So that means Ft is called tangential force and which is responsible for the tangential acceleration, and Fc is called centripetal force and which is responsible for the centripetal acceleration there. So that means now we may mention that Fc and Ft are two components of this force there which are responsible for the respective accelerations. And so now you can write this expression as therefore power delivered you can write in this case as F is equal to Fc bar plus Ft bar dot V bar. Now we can write. So just I am taking them as components themselves there, that Fc and Ft. So this Fc bar dot V bar plus Ft bar dot V bar, right? And so that this value now we can write this as 0 plus this we already concluded that angle will be 0. So power delivered by the centripetal force is always 0, whether the uniform circular motion or non-uniform circular motion, power delivered by the centripetal force is 0. And so now power delivered by the tangential force we can write this as F bar dot V bar, or we can write this as Ft into V into cos theta you can write. Whatever may be the theta value, it may be theta or it may be 180 degrees may be there. So that means positive power may be there or negative power may be there. That means loss of energy may take place there. So that means then this will be the expression for this power delivered in non-uniform circular motion. So if any power is delivered in non-uniform, that means in any power is delivered in circular motion, non-zero power is delivered to the particle in circular motion, means you can conclude that it will be a tangential circular motion only. Sorry, non-uniform circular motion only, and which is delivered by this tangential force. So if only tangential force can deliver the power to the particle, right? So that is about the power delivered in circular motion. Power delivered by the centripetal force is always 0. And next, write a problem related to this here. Write a problem based on this power calculation. A particle of mass m, is revolving in a circular path of radius r such that its centripetal acceleration is given by AC is equal to k square into r into t square, where k is constant and t is the time. Then find power delivered by this power delivered to this particle. And so now for us centripetal acceleration is given here. So when centripetal acceleration is given, actually to calculate the power we need this force, that means centripetal force and then tangential force, and we already concluded the power delivered by the centripetal force is 0, so we need to calculate this tangential force, right? So I will explain how to calculate the centripetal force also, so that you will get the clarity. In other problems they may ask about the net force acting on the particle, just by giving that expression, so that you will get the clarity. About the power we already discussed about that. So I will explain how to calculate the net force, and from that you can write the power calculations there. And so now centripetal acceleration is given for us. And so centripetal acceleration we can write this as v square by r. And first you may write directly about this centripetal force here. So first let us write about the centripetal force. So therefore this centripetal force Fc we can write this as m into AC. If centripetal acceleration is known to us, then you can write our centripetal force. Therefore, this Fc is equal to m into AC value you can write as k square r into t square. So this is our centripetal force here, right? And then next another thing given is we need to calculate the tangential force from this. And to calculate the tangential force from this, we need to calculate the tangential acceleration. And to calculate the tangential acceleration, either alpha is to be required for us or velocity, the speed of this particle is required for us. So let us write this here. So AC is equal to V square by R you can write. And so now that value you can write this as is equal to k square r into t square you can write, or which is from this you can write this as v is equal to k rt you can write by writing r that side and taking the square root. And so now tangential acceleration is equal to, so the tangential acceleration you can write this as, so for the tangential acceleration I said only two expressions are there for us. That means two methods of calculating the tangential acceleration is there. One method is like we need to write it as dv by dt, and other is if you know the alpha value then we need to write it as tangential acceleration is equal to r alpha, right? And so now here velocity speed as a function of time is known to us, and so therefore this tangential acceleration we can write this as dv by dt now. And therefore this tangential acceleration is equal to, you can differentiate that, then you will get this value as k into r. Directly I am writing that the differentiation of this t is 1. And so then this is our tangential acceleration. Once if you know the tangential acceleration, then you can write about the tangential force. So then mass into tangential acceleration. Therefore this is tangential force. So tangential force Ft is equal to m into at you can write, and therefore this tangential force is equal to m into k into r you can write. So it is a tangential force here. So if the question is about our net force, then you can write the net force now under root of Fc square plus Ft square you can write there. Is it clear? That is in case of net force. Now power calculation is required for us, and so power calculation means so then this Fc will be there along this direction and Ft will be there along this direction here, and you can observe that here the speed of the particle is increasing with time. The speed of the particle is increasing with the time means Ft and speed are in the same direction. The tangential acceleration and velocity are in the same direction. So that angle between them is 0 you can conclude there, right? And so what we can write here is now therefore power delivered, we can write this as Fc bar into V bar plus Ft bar into V bar. And therefore this is first term is 0 that we know already, and Ft into V into cos 0 you can write here, V into cos 0. Therefore this expression Ft expression you can write this as m into k into r, and velocity expression, for velocity we already derived this expression here, so that expression now we can substitute there, k or t into that cos 0 you can write. Therefore this power delivered will be equal to m into, so this is the expression for this power delivered in this case here, right? So it is a way of finding this power in this circular motion. And so next let us write this another problem here based on this same like force calculation. So sometimes they will give the kinetic energy function or speed function, and from this they may ask like net force or net acceleration of the particle. And so now let us see such a problem now. So write that problem, the kinetic energy of the particle, the kinetic energy of a particle revolving in a circular path of radius r, revolving in a circular path of radius r, depends on the distance traveled by the particle as, depends on the distance traveled by the particle as k is equal to alpha into s square, k is equal to alpha into s square, where alpha is positive constant, where alpha is positive constant. Then find if m is the mass of the particle not required, just write this as find net force acting on the particle. Find net force acting on the particle. So here I hope all of you know the formula for the kinetic energy. Actually now here in this 12th class we will discuss that kinetic energy, about the kinetic energy in the next topic, work for energy. I hope all of you know the formula for this kinetic energy in our lower classes also. Like kinetic energy we write that as half mv square, right? And so now let us use that formula here. So whenever kinetic energy is given for us, so you can write that centripetal acceleration easily. So that is a relation there. Kinetic energy is given means you can say that centripetal acceleration is given for us. And so let us write first that thing here. So we know, so kinetic energy is equal to half mv square, right? And therefore what we can write is this k is equal to alpha into s square, which is equal to half mv square. That means mv square by 2 I am writing here. And so from this what we can write here is v square by r we can write here. That means centripetal acceleration we can write here. So from this what I can write here is v square is equal to, so what we can write here is 2 alpha into s square. And now the centripetal force we can write this as, so centripetal force is equal to Fc is equal to mv square by r, right? That is nothing but our centripetal force formula. So mv square means you can write this as 2 alpha into s square by r. Let's suppose this is a equation 1. That is centripetal force. And next we need to find the tangential force. And we also don't know whether tangential force is there or not, right? So now we need to decide whether the tangential acceleration is there or not. So from that we can calculate the tangential force if any. And so to find the tangential acceleration, from this expression you can calculate this speed of the particle there. And so therefore from this that v is equal to, what we can write is, so from that I am writing the speed of the particle here. I can write this as 2 alpha f square by s square by m. Or we can write this as speed of the particle is equal to, v is equal to, so s into under root of alpha into 2 alpha by m. The 2 alpha by m is a constant. So now that speed of the particle is also a variable now, because it depends on the distance traveled, like kinetic energy of the particle. And so from that we can write this tangential acceleration, we can write this as, or directly by observing this expression itself we can say that, because we already mentioned that in uniform circular motion kinetic energy of the particle remains constant, and in non-uniform circular motion kinetic energy of the particle is variable. So here the kinetic energy of the particle is variable. That clearly shows that speed of the particle is variable, so that there will be some tangential force or tangential acceleration will be there on the particle. And so now I am writing this tangential acceleration here. Tangential acceleration at is equal to, so what we can write is dv by ds dt, and therefore what we can write is at is equal to under root of 2 alpha by m into ds by dt. So now the ds by dt is nothing but that gives the speed of the particle for us. So then this is v. And so now v means, again you can substitute that expression there. Therefore this at is equal to under root of 2 alpha by m into, that v means s into under root of 2 alpha by m. So by using this equation here, right? And so therefore finally what we can write is at is equal to 2 alpha into s by m you can write. And so now our tangential force we need to write here. Tangential force Ft is equal to m into at. So that m just you can write this side. So 2 alpha into s you can write. So this is a centripetal force, and that is the tangential force. Now from that you can find this net force acting on the particle. And therefore this net force we can write this as under root of fc square plus ft square. And so then this value you can write this as under root of 2 alpha s square by r whole square plus ft is, this is 2 alpha s whole square. So you can take common and you can simplify that. That depends on the options I am leaving there. So you can simplify that expression further. And so next let us see one such a problem if they are giving like it is a function of velocity function is given here. So just write that problem. So in a similar way you can solve that problem easily. So I will give that as a homework. So solve that, write that problem. A particle of mass m, a particle of mass m is moving in a circular path of radius r, is moving in a circular path of radius r such that the speed of the particle varies with the distance traveled by a particle s, varies with the distance traveled by a particle with the distance traveled by a particle s, as note that v is equal to alpha into root s. V is equal to alpha into root s, where alpha is positive constant. Then find net force acting on the particle, net force acting on the particle, and also find net force acting on the particle for a distance travelled s. That means as a function of s we need to calculate net force acting on the particle when it completes when it travels a distance s. So mention that when it travels a distance s. And next question, find the angle between net acceleration and velocity of the particle at the same instant. Find the angle between net acceleration and the speed of the particle at the same instant. So now this is similar to that of our previous problem. Write the centripetal acceleration from that centripetal force, then write the tangential acceleration, and then write this tangential force, right? So based on that you can solve this problem easily. Next here, so based on this another problem will be there, like sometimes they will give like horizontal circle, and in that horizontal circle the particles are let us say here one particle is there and here another particle is there here. I am taking this length is L and this length is also L. So this is the center, and about this the system is revolving here. And so this is particle of mass m and this is a particle of mass m. And so now here I am giving that its speed is given as v for us, or let it be v naught. The speed of that particle is given as v naught for us. Then we need to find the ratio of tension. Suppose say this is A, B and this is C. So the tension ratio of tension in AB and BC, the tension ratios we need to find them. So just mention that two identical particles A and B, are connected by the two identical strings each of length L, two identical strings each of length L as shown in figure. The system is rotating on a smooth horizontal surface about the end C. If speed of the particle A is v naught, then find the ratio of tension in the string AB to tension in the string BC. Then find the ratio of tension in the string AB to tension in the string BC. Right? So just we need to write the force equations, and from that centripetal force equations we need to write there. So just first of all you need to calculate this speed of this particle is given as v naught, and so now the speed of this particle will be differ there. The angular displacement is same for both of them, and so angular velocity is same for both of them. Whenever such a particles are connected like this, remember that all the particles will possess the same angular velocity. Angular velocity will be same, but speed will be different for different particles, because we know the relation among them is v is equal to r omega. We need to write. So r is changing here. The distance of this particle is different, and distance of this particle is different from the axis of rotation, and so that the v value will be differs there, but omega will remain same, because the angle turned by the particles will remain same. Or simply in case of rod, I can say here. So if a rod is revolving like this, let us say a rigid rod is rotating about this one end here. So when the rod is rotating here, if suppose the rod is covers an angular displacement like this, the angular displacement covered by the rod is like this here, theta. So then you may consider the different points on this rod here, A, B, C, different points you may consider here. So the angular displacement of these different points will be same only. Every point will cover the angular displacement of theta only. And so from that you can say that for entire rod or for all particles of this rod, angular velocity will be omega only. But linear speed will be different. The linear velocity will be different, because we need to write v is equal to r omega. So r is different for different particles here. The distance of A is different from axis of rotation, and distance of B is different from axis of rotation. So because of that reason, the particles, different particles will possess the different speeds, but the angular velocity will remain same. Is it clear? And similarly here also. So first, based on that, you may calculate angular velocity of the system, and in terms of angular velocity, now I can write here. So now angular velocity I am writing here. In general angular velocity, we know already, if observer is here, now the particle is traveling with the velocity v naught. So perpendicular distance by perpendicular velocity, now we can write here. Therefore angular velocity, we can write this as angular velocity of A I am writing here. And now we can conclude that the angular velocity of A and angular velocity of B both will be same only. Right? As I said, the angular velocities will be same. And if you want to calculate the linear velocity, now you can apply the velocity of this B here. So I can write this as now angular velocity of A is V naught. Now, linear velocity. Now the linear velocity of this B means you can write this as omega into L, you can write. So that omega is nothing but V naught by 2L into L. So V naught by 2 you will get. So if you want to calculate linear velocity of B, you can write this as V naught by 2. Or in terms of centripetal force also, in terms of omega you may write, and in terms of omega you can solve this problem. And so now to find the ratio of the tensions here, let us take the free body diagrams of A and B. So I will take the now free body diagrams of A and B, and so that you will get the clarity about that. So then for this particle A, this is particle B, let us consider here, and particle A I am taking here. So I am taking that the system is revolving in horizontal plane, and so that mg role is not there in the motion of this system. And so now here this tension, suppose I am taking it as T1, and so let us take this tension as T2. Now we need to find T2 by T1. And so now forces acting on B will be like this, the radial force. And then for this the tension T2 will be there like this. And so now here it is having that velocity Vb here, and this is having some velocity Va like this. And so now you can write the centripetal force equation for A and B. So for A I am writing now. So for A, the only force, the centripetal force, we can write this as, so centripetal force for that A, we can write this as, centripetal force is provided by, who is providing the centripetal force for the particle A? The tension, only tension T2 will provide the centripetal force, right? So because that centripetal force is directed towards the center, so that only will provide the necessary centripetal force. So that we can write this as T2. Therefore this T2 is equal to, centripetal force means you can write this as mVA into R square. So that R is, mV square by R. So that R value is 2L here. That V is nothing but we can write this as V naught. That is given there. So mV naught square by 2L you can write. So let's suppose this is our equation 1, right? Or you can write, instead of writing mv square by r, you can also write mr omega square also you can write. That is your choice, as I said. So that omega will be same for both of them. And next for B I am writing here. So for B, let us write such a centripetal force equation here. For B, centripetal force, now we can write it as So centripetal force Fc is equal to, so in the last class we discussed already, when two or more forces are acting on this particle, when two or more forces are acting on the particle, then the resultant of those forces which is directed towards the center will be the resultant force. So now on particle B, now two forces are acting here, and so then the net force acting on B along the radial direction is nothing but T1 minus T2 we need to write, because the net force should be directed towards the center here. So T1 must be greater than that of the T2. And so then centripetal force for that case we can write this as T1 minus T2. Therefore now what we can write here is T1 minus T2 is equal to m into Vb square by L. The radius of that particle will be L. The radius of B is 2L and radius of A is 2L and B is L. And so now you can write this as T1 is equal to T2 plus mb square by L. Now we can substitute those values here. T2 is mv naught square by 2L plus m by L into Vb value we already calculated there. So V naught by 2 whole square. And so then this value will be 4 you will get. So this is 3 mv naught square by 4 you can write 4L. And therefore now we can write the ratios here. The T1 by T2 ratio, T2 by T1 is our required ratio. So this is mv naught square by 2L by mv naught square by 3 mv naught square by 4 you can write. Therefore this T2 by T1 is equal to 2:3 you can write. So that will be the ratio there. So that is the ratio of, that means whenever such a problem, sometimes they make the three bodies may be connected there. This is a procedure in such a case there, right? And next let us see this conical pendulum here. So this conical pendulum is nothing but, all of you know the simple pendulum. So simple pendulum means we know a heavy point mass is suspended by using this inextensible string. And now this bob is pulled to a side and release it. Then it makes oscillations here. Then we call it as simple pendulum. Now instead of pulling it to a side and releasing it, now if you are rotating this bob in horizontal circle, if you rotate the bob in horizontal circle, then that is nothing but we call it as a conical pendulum here. So instead of oscillating in vertical plane, if you make the bob to revolve in horizontal circle, then we call that as a conical pendulum. So just mention that if the bob of a simple pendulum, is made to revolve in a horizontal circle, then it is called conical pendulum. Let m be the mass of the bob. Bob means it is nothing but this point mass here. Let m be the mass of the bob and L is the length of the string. And it revolves in horizontal circle such that string makes an angle theta with vertical. String makes an angle theta with vertical. So now let us see the free body diagram for this here. So now I am drawing the free body diagram and let us identify the centripetal force now, right? So now the force is acting on this bob. What are the forces acting on this bob here? So one force we know, weight of the bob is acting downwards, mg. And the other force we can say it is connected by a string, and so the tension in the string will be there along this direction. So is there any other force? Is there any centripetal force directed towards the center? So I said in the previous class, you should never represent that centripetal force in the free body diagram, right? So then only these two forces are acting in this case here. And so now you may resolve this force into components. So one component tension I am resolving here. So the tension, this angle is theta, means then this angle you will get this as theta. So that this is T cos theta you can write. and this force we can write this as T sine theta here. And so now we can say that in vertical direction these two will balance with each other, and so because in vertical direction there is no any acceleration there, and so therefore what we can write there is T cos theta is equal to mg. This is say equation 1. Now who will provide the centripetal force for this bob here, because the bob is revolving in horizontal circle, then who will provide the centripetal force for that? So the centripetal force for that is provided by this tension here. So as I said, it should not represent the centripetal force in free body diagram. Any one of the force or the components of the force, the which is acting towards the center or directed towards the center, will provide the centripetal force. That is the point you need to observe there. And so now here in this example, now T sine theta will provide the centripetal force here, and therefore now centripetal force we can write this as centripetal force Fc is equal to, so in this example it will be T sine theta, and that implies I can write this as T sine theta is equal to either mv square by r you can write, or mr omega square we can write here. Mr omega square I am writing now, and you know r value now we need to write here. Just let us first find the expression for the time period, and after that you can write if you want any speed of the particle or angular velocity, you can derive all those expressions depending on that. So these are the equations, two equations what we can write here, and from this you can further simplify actually here, or let us take this another term, another equation there. That means that r value we can write here. So where r is the radius of the circular horizontal circle, you can take it as this is our r value here. So this r value you can write this as by using this triangle. So that r is equal to L sine theta you can write just by using this triangle, right angle triangle. R is equal to L sine theta. So let us substitute that value in that equation. Therefore this T sine theta is equal to m into L sine theta into omega square you can write. And therefore this T is equal to ml omega square you will get. Now let us take this equation 2. Now that equation 2 you can substitute in that equation 1, and from that you can find this omega value, or from that you can find the time period there. So now I can write this from 1 and 2, equation 1 and 2, ml omega square into cos theta. I am substituting this T value here. So ml omega square into cos theta is equal to mg, and from this omega is equal to, I can write this as under root of g by L cos theta. Sorry. And in this sometimes we need to find the time period of oscillation here. So time period of oscillation means relation between time period and this omega. So the relation between them we can write this as, so we know T is equal to 2 pi by omega you can write, or omega is equal to 2 pi by T. That relation we already mentioned in the beginning of the circular motion, and therefore I can write this expression as this T is equal to 2 pi into under root of L cos theta by G. So this is our time period of oscillation here. So this is time period here, you may mention this as some T dash, because here T, so this is time period. So because here T means we use that for this, we use it for the tension, so you may use that T dash as a time period there. Therefore time period you can write this as 2 pi into L, 2 pi into under root of L cos theta by G you can write. So that is the time period in that case. Or sometimes they may ask like what is a linear speed of the particle. So if all those angles are given to us, sometimes they may ask that speed of the particle. So now let us see that speed of the particle calculation here. So from this you can write that as speed is equal to V is equal to R omega you can write. So now this V is nothing but I can write this as R value is R is equal to L sine theta into that omega. So that omega you can write this as G by L cos theta we can write. And so now we can further simplify this. Therefore I can write this as V is equal to under root of, so let us write the total values inside the root. So then what we can write here is G into L into, I can write this as sin theta into tan theta we can write. Is it clear? So that means sin square you will get L square sin square theta, one L will be cancelled and one sin theta by cos theta we are writing as tan theta, the remaining sin theta will be there. So that means if they ask the speed of the particle, then we can write like this. So that is our conical pendulum here. So these two equations are important for us. Just these force equations are important for us. No need of remembering all those expressions like omega expression or time period expression or the speed of this particle. All those expressions no need to remember. So but you need to know how to write this force equations here. The writing the force equation is very important for this. So let us see some few problems based on this conical pendulum concept here. So in this conical pendulum, that theta will be a constant value here. That means it will looks like in the form of a cone. If it is revolving continuously, then it appears like a cone. So that means the theta value will remain same. Theta value won't changes there. And so now let us write this problem here. So I am taking like this is some cylindrical pipe is given here. So that here one mass is hanging like this. This is a block of capital M. And then here this another particle is there, another particle of mass small m is revolving like this at some angle theta here. This mass is m and its length is suppose say L, right? Now it is made to revolve like this. This small m is revolving like this, and with what angular velocity, our question is now with what angular velocity it should rotate so that this capital M will remain constant, right? So just mention that problem there. A block of mass capital M, a block of mass capital M hangs or is suspended by using a string, whose other end is connected to a particle of mass m, whose other end is connected to a particle of mass m. If this block capital M remains in equilibrium, if this block capital M remains in equilibrium, find the angular velocity with which the particle of mass small m is to be rotated. The particle of mass small m is to be rotated as a conical pendulum as shown. That means the theta and L are shown there. So for that theta and L values now we need to calculate there as a conical pendulum as shown. That means now this particle will revolve in a circular path here. So that will revolve in a circular path like this as a conical pendulum there, right? And so now let us write again the same process here. The force, as I said, no need of remembering any of those equations, just our procedure is required for us. So I am taking the tension in the string is T. So here T is there and this mg is there in downward direction. This is for capital M. Next let us come to the small m here. So for small m again this mg is there here and the tension is acting like this, right? And so then here you may resolve again this tension into components. So this angle is theta. I can write this as T cos theta and this is T sin theta. And so now let us write the equations, balancing equations for small m and capital M here. So for capital M, what we can write is tension is equal to capital Mg. Let us say equation 1. And let us write for the small m here. For small m, if you write equation, then similar to our previous derivation, you can write T cos theta is equal to Mg. Let us say equation 2. And then from that means T sin theta, centripetal force equation you can write for this. So centripetal force Fc is equal to T sin theta we can write. and therefore this T sin theta is equal to m into r omega square we can write. And the same r means we can substitute L sin theta, and therefore this is T sin theta is equal to m into L sin theta, this r value into omega square, and therefore this T is equal to ml omega square you can write. This is equation 3. Now just directly you can take the equation 1 and equation 3, because theta is already known to us, so we can substitute this omega value, T value here. So from equation 1 and equation 3, is equal to mg is equal to ml omega square. Therefore we can write this omega value from this here. So which is capital Mg by small m into L. So that is our omega value there, right? So if they ask the theta value, then theta value we can calculate by using that equation there. So suppose if they ask our theta value here, so that means if theta is also to be calculated, then you can combine these two equations here. So from equations 1 and 2. So from 1 and 2, this mg cos theta is equal to, what we can write is small mg you can write. Therefore this capital cos theta is equal to small m by capital M you can write. Right, that is the theta at which that bob should rotate here, or bob will rotate to maintain that in equilibrium. So that is cos inverse of m by m. So next write this another problem here based on this conical pendulum. A small block is connected. A small block is connected by two identical strings, each of length 16 2 by 3 centimeters, each of length 16 2 by 3 centimeters, right? The bob is the small block is made to revolve in a horizontal circle, such that the ratio of tension in the strings T1 and T1 is to T2 is 4:1. The ratio of tensions T1 is to T2 is 4:1. Then find the angular velocity with which block is the block is revolved in horizontal circle. That means the ratio of tensions, they will mention these angles also here. This angle I am giving it as some 60 degrees. And so then ratio of tensions means the tension in this T1 and tension in this is T2, and let us say this is A, B. And this point is C here, and this is the block here. And so now this is a given information there. And so then from this they are asking with what angular velocity it should be rotated, so that to get this ratio here, the tension ratio. And so just again the same procedure, like we need to take the free body diagram of this block, and then we need to write the force equations there, right? So just take the free body diagram here. So if I am taking the free body diagram, the weight of this block mg will be there in downward direction. So I mentioned, I already expressed this tension here. This angle is given as 60 degrees for us. So if this angle is 60 degrees, then I can say that this angle is also 60 degrees here, because these two lengths are mentioned as same, identical length, right? So that is mentioned in the data there. And so now I can write this expression as, you can resolve this into tension into components here. So let us say this, I will resolve this into component. This angle is 60 degrees, so I can take this angle as 60 degrees. So this is T1 cos 60. And so then this is along this direction T1 sin 60. Next, similarly for this T2 here, this angle is 60, so this angle I can take it as 60. So this is T2 cos 60 and along this direction T2 sin 60. And so now let us write the balancing equation. So along this direction you may balance that forces. If you balance that forces, what we can write is T1 cos 60 is equal to T2 cos 60 plus mg. And so therefore what we can write is T1 by 2 is equal to T2 by 2 T2 by 2 plus mg. And so next what we can write here is the T1 and T2 ratio is given there. So let's suppose I am taking that as T2 is equal to T, you may consider, then or otherwise you may substitute the T1 and T2 values directly there. So that means then you can substitute this expression as so that means then T1 is equal to 4 T2 you can write there, right? So that is our relation what we can substitute here, the ratio of tensions. So that means actually this relation is T1 is equal to T2 plus mg you can write. And so with the help of this relation what we can write is 4T2, T1 is 4T2 is equal to or minus T2 is equal to 2mg you can write. This is 2mg. And therefore that T2 is equal to what we can write is 2 by 3 mg, right? So that 2 by 3, 2 by 3 mg, and then this is our equation 1. Therefore our T2 is equal, T1 is equal to 4 T2 we are writing there, so that this expression is 8 by 3 mg. Let's suppose this is our equation 2. So that we are getting the T1 and T2 expressions there. Now let us write the centripetal force equation here. Now these two components are acting towards the center only. Therefore our centripetal force we can write this as T1 sin 60 plus T2 sin 60 is equal to mr omega square we can write. This is the centripetal force equation. So centripetal force equation we can write as this equation here, Fc is equal to, this is nothing but. And so now we can substitute these expressions and we can simplify this. T1 is 8 by 3 mg plus T2 value is 2 by 3 mg into sin 60 I am taking out. So this is root 3 by 2 is equal to mr omega square. That r value again you can write by using that equation there. If suppose this value is L, if you are taking here, then L sin 60 you can write there. So L sin 60 into omega square now we can write. Now we can simplify this, these equations. Now we can do the further calculation there. So find the further calculation and finally substitute this, find that omega value there. Take that G value as 9.8 so that you will get that omega value, right? And now I'm giving the another problem here based on the same conical pendulum. So let us note this another problem. I will explain how to solve this. Further simplify this. Is it clear? And further simplify that, their L value is known to us. You will get the total problem in terms of L and G value. So L is known to us and G is known to us. Then you can find the omega numerical value there. And I think if you are taking the G value as 9.8, then you will get the exact roots. So once check that calculation. And so next I am giving this another problem here. So let us take this, this is a table here. It has a small hole in this. So now two identical particles are connected by the strings here. So now this particle is revolving in the horizontal circle on the table like this. Say this is M of length L1 and this is length L2. It is revolving as a conical pendulum. That means this bob is revolving in a horizontal circle below the table here, right? And so that they are maintaining that equilibrium there. And then we need to find this L1 and L2 ratios. So write that problem. Two identical particles each of mass M, two identical particles each of mass M are connected to the two ends of a string. Connected to the two ends of a string which is passing through a small hole in a horizontal table. Which is passing through a small hole in a horizontal table as shown. the particle on the table is revolving in a horizontal circle, with angular velocity omega, and the particle hanging from the table, also revolves as a conical pendulum with angular velocity omega 2. Then find the ratio L1 by L2. So is it clear? Both are revolving there. Above top one is revolving and the bottom one is also revolving. Top one just revolves in a horizontal circle on the table, and now the bottom one will revolve like a conical pendulum there. So just you can balance the forces and you can write here. This is the tension I am taking here. So the tension will be there and here mg will be there for this. So you can resolve this tension into components here. So this is T cos theta and this force will be T sin theta. So I am taking this as, suppose say this is particle A and this is B I am taking here, so that you can write that force equations. So for A I am writing here, for A you can write this as T is equal to m L1 into omega square or omega 1 square, right? So this is our equation 1. Now for B I am writing here. So for B what we can write is that T cos theta is equal to mg. This is one equation what we can write. And another centripetal force equation what we can write is T sin theta is equal to, this is our centripetal force equation, T sin theta is equal to mr omega square we can write, omega 2 square we can write. Now R means now we can substitute here. So this is T sin theta is equal to, R is nothing but again this length L2 is given. So L2 into sin theta into omega 2 square. And so again the sin theta value will be cancelled, therefore this T is equal to m L2 into omega 2 square you can write. This is our equation 3. So just find this equation 1 and equation 2. So then equation 3. So from 1 and 3 you can write m L1 omega 1 square is equal to m L2 omega 2 square. And therefore this L1 by L2 ratio we can find here. So this is omega 2 by omega 1 whole square, right? So that will be the required ratio there. So like that you can solve the problems based on this conical pendulum there. So right. So then actually in these problems we didn't introduce the tension, friction. So then in next class I will introduce about the friction and I will discuss the problems involving that frictional force there, right? Thank you.